On the first day of high school, Miao Xiao Xiao, an ordinary schoolgirl, bravely rescued a puppy and encountered the boy of her dreams. Little did she know that upon returning home, the rescued puppy would transform into the very image of her heartthrob. And in the days that followed, her other pets would also transform into his likeness, one after another. What was the reason behind this strange phenomenon? As she searched for the truth, what extraordinary adventures would she experience with her animal version dream boy? The story begins the day before school started. Xiao Xiao and her best friend went shopping. Finally, Xiao Xiao bought the latest version of the inner pants she had been longing for. Seeing her clutching them adoringly, her best friend complained, "I didn't ask you out to go to this kind of toy store, okay?" Xiao Xiao, unfazed, replied, "But my lord's like this too." Seeing her still so childish, even though she was starting high school, her best friend posed a pointed question. "Don't you have any plans or expectations for your upcoming high school life?" Xiao Xiao put on a dreamy expression and declared her grand ambition: to be in the top 30 of the class by midterms. Faced with such a bold declaration, her friend was momentarily speechless. However, just a moment later, Xiao Xiao rushed home empty-handed, leaving her friend stamping her feet in frustration. "You haven't finished shopping with me yet. You slave to your lords." Clutching her new purchase, Xiao Xiao jogged all the way home. Upon entering, she called out to her lords. However, the lords she referred to were actually 3 adorable pets: a little white mouse, a little white rabbit, and a big black cat. One might wonder how the mouse had survived this long. In her daily life, Xiao Xiao not only took care of her lords' needs, but also cooked for herself and her mother. As for the aforementioned lords, they were all her mother's doing. Her mother had an unwritten habit. She only rescued animals, never kept them. Sometimes, Xiao Xiao wondered, why do I have to be like a housewife? I'm just a high school student. The story unfolds the next day. On her first day of high school, Xiao Xiao left the house excitedly. On her way to school, she suddenly spotted a little white dog trapped under a fence. Xiao Xiao immediately went to help. After struggling for a while, she still couldn't free the puppy. Just as she was getting frustrated, a voice called out from behind, "Do you need any help?" Xiao Xiao turned around and saw a white-haired boy standing behind her with a pair of scissors. A chill ran down her spine. "No, wait, I'm a girl," she thought, then immediately worried about the puppy's safety. "This guy isn't going to eat the dog, is he?" Just as she was about to stop him, in the blink of an eye, the boy had already freed the puppy. At that moment, Xiao Xiao finally got a clear look at the boy. He had silvery white hair, like someone straight out of manga. He was so cute, she almost wanted to take a bite out of him. Xiao Xiao snapped back to reality, a blush creeping across her face, partly from embarrassment at having misjudged him, and partly from being captivated by his striking appearance. After thanking him, Xiao Xiao looked at the broken fence and frowned. Unexpectedly, the boy turned out to be quite resourceful. He quickly patched up the fence with some tape. He scratched his head sheepishly. "It'll have to do for now." Relieved that the problem was solved, Xiao Xiao hugged the puppy and said, "Thank you so much. Both me and the puppy are really grateful." After exchanging pleasantries, Xiao Xiao checked her phone and realized she was about to be late. She then sprinted all the way to school, thankfully making it just in time. The new students were all gathered in the auditorium for the welcoming ceremony. Her best friend looked surprised to see her arrive so late. "What took you so long? This isn't like you." Xiao Xiao subconsciously touched her backpack, where she had hidden the puppy. She stammered, explaining that she had encountered a little problem on the way. As they were talking, the principal began his speech. After a formal introduction, he welcomed and offered his blessings to the new students. Next, it was time for the student representative to give a speech. To Xiao Xiao's surprise, the representative was none other than the boy who had helped her that morning. The boy walked up to the podium and introduced himself. His name was Feng Yimo, and he was in the same class as Xiao Xiao. Just as Xiao Xiao was processing the surprising information, the puppy poked its head out of her bag and began to glow brightly. Xiao Xiao looked on, completely bewildered. But after the light faded, the puppy transformed into the spitting image of Feng Yimo, nestled in Xiao Xiao's arms. Xiao Xiao's shock was evident on her face. Just then, her best friend turned around. "Xiao Xiao, aren't you in class 3? Her words trailed off, stunned by the sight before her. "Xiao Xiao, you brought a dog to school?" The friend's exclamation clearly indicated she hadn't noticed the puppy's transformation. In her eyes, Xiao Xiao was simply holding a puppy. Confused, Xiao Xiao spoke again, trying to confirm what she was seeing. "The puppy?" Her friend's tone remained completely unperturbed. "Yeah, the puppy. Did your mom bring home another stray?" She reached out to pet the puppy, cooing over how cute it was. Xiao Xiao glanced down and discovered, to her astonishment, that the puppy had reverted back to its original form. Bewildered, she walked through the school grounds after the opening assembly. Then, the puppy transformed back into Feng Yimo, following her like a shadow. Xiao Xiao, unable to accept what was happening, convinced herself it was a dream and walked headfirst into a tree. The sharp pain jolted her. She looked at the puppy beside her. This isn't a dream. At that moment, the real Feng Yimo walked by. The puppy excitedly rushed towards him, and two identical faces appeared in the same frame. This confirmed it wasn't a dream. Xiao Xiao, resigned, accepted the bizarre reality. Because of the day's events, Xiao Xiao had a strange dream that night. She dreamt that all her pets had transformed into Feng Yimo. She woke up with a start at 4:24 a.m. Though she knew it had been a dream, the puppy beside her had once again transformed into Feng Yimo and was now on her bed, nuzzling and licking her face. The whole situation was leaving her disoriented. To escape reality, she pulled the covers over her head. Then, she remembered what happened when the puppy encountered Feng Yimo the previous day. Feng Yimo, startled by the suddenly appearing puppy, had scrambled up a tree. Everything pointed to one conclusion. The puppy transforming into Feng Yimo was real, not a dream. Just as she was drifting back to sleep, her mother's shriek jolted her awake. Xiao Xiao jumped out of bed and ran to the living room, which was in complete disarray, covered in paw prints. She instinctively glanced back at the puppy, the obvious culprit. The puppy, completely oblivious to the chaos it had caused, was sitting on the sofa, wagging its tail at Xiao Xiao. Looking at its adorable face, Xiao Xiao couldn't bring herself to be angry. Instead, she grabbed a rag and started cleaning. Her mother, however, refused to help, complaining she was too tired and went back to bed. Meanwhile, the puppy had run back into the living room and was now frolicking around with a roll of toilet paper. Exasperated, Xiao Xiao tied the puppy up before continuing to clean. By the time she finished cleaning the living room, it was almost 6 a.m. She didn't go back to bed, but started preparing breakfast for her pets. Just as she was about to show off her culinary skills to the newest member of her pet family, she realized something. Do puppies eat vegetables and fruit? Don't they only eat bones? Unsure, she consulted the internet. The search results informed her that dogs are omnivores and can eat almost anything. So, Xiao Xiao prepared fish for the black cat, fruit for the white rat, and carrots for the rabbit. When she got to the puppy's bowl, there was nothing left. Looking at its pitiful expression, she wondered what to feed it. Then, she had a brilliant idea. She gave the puppy a mix of everything she had prepared for the other pets. Apparently, the puppy, being an omnivore, was starving and devoured the entire bowl in one gulp. Having been busy since the early hours of the morning, it was now 6:10 a.m. Can I finally sleep now? Xiao Xiao thought. No, next up is dog walking time. Moments later, Xiao Xiao was seen in the neighborhood, walking a human being on a leash. And the person she was walking was wearing their school uniform. Yet, this bizarre scene seemed perfectly normal to everyone else. At that moment, Xiao Xiao understood. Everyone except her saw the puppy as a regular dog. Just as she came to this realization, the puppy wrapped the leash around her legs and lunged forward. Xiao Xiao lost her balance and tumbled to the ground. However, instead of landing gracefully, Meow Xiao Xiao tumbled into Feng Yimo's arms. Thinking she was the puppy, he playfully scolded, "Little Wong, you're so naughty." For a fleeting moment, a blush crept onto his cheeks. But then he remembered, it was just a dog. Then the dog spoke. Naughty? What do you mean naughty? Xiao Xiao's brain short-circuited. She glanced back at the actual Little Wong. She touched the person in front of her and realized with a jolt that it was Feng Yimo himself. Just as she was awkwardly trying to dig a hole in the floor with her toe, Little Wong suddenly pounced, pushing Xiao Xiao further into Feng Yimo's embrace. Then, the puppy proceeded to lick Feng Yimo's face enthusiastically. Xiao Xiao couldn't take it anymore. She gave Little Wong a light bop on the head, finally quieting him. Turning back to Feng Yimo, she bowed apologetically. "I'm so sorry. He's always causing trouble." Hearing her voice, Feng Yimo fumbled in his bag, retrieved his glasses, and put them on. Only then did he realize that Xiao Xiao was standing before him. Feng Yimo, it turned out, was incredibly nearsighted. He couldn't distinguish gender from 30 meters and couldn't tell human from beast at 50. Having finally focused, he didn't seem to notice the awkward incident, instead immediately getting down on the ground to play with Little Wong. Xiao Xiao finally realized what was going on. He had only recognized the dog, not her. After a while, Feng Yimo finally seemed to register her presence. He turned around excitedly. But long seconds ticked by, and he stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence, let alone say her name. Sensing his struggle, Xiao Xiao offered gently, "It's okay if you don't remember." However, Feng Yimo, noticing her fidgeting hands, assumed she wanted her dog back. He promptly scooped up Little Wong and handed him over, making Xiao Xiao even more flustered. "That's not what I meant." Having done this, Feng Yimo turned to leave. But as he turned, he walked straight into a pole with a resounding clang, his glasses flying off. Xiao Xiao watched the whole spectacle unfold, thinking that eccentric was a better word than heartthrob. If the events of the past 2 days had been confusing, what she saw upon entering the classroom was utterly world-shattering. Instead of being filled with students, the classroom had transformed into a zoo, and she herself was wearing what looked like a straw costume, apparently in the same predicament as Little Wong earlier. Just then, a wildebeest approached her from behind, asking to pass. Xiao Xiao jumped, startled, and quickly moved aside. To her astonishment, the wildebeest spoke. "Excuse me, classmate. Why aren't you going inside? You look a little pale, and your eyes are unfocused. Seems like you've been spooked by something unclean lately." Xiao Xiao turned to see that the wildebeest had transformed into a girl with glasses. While she was still reeling from the shock, the girl pulled out a talisman. "This is a cleansing talisman I developed myself. Since we have the same hairstyle, consider it a gift. It'll keep you safe." With that, the girl walked away. Xiao Xiao clutched the talisman and slowly turned around. The other students had returned to normal, and the classroom was filled with the usual chatter. She walked inside, wondering if her delusion had finally vanished. Then she looked down at the talisman in her hand. So it wasn't a delusion, she thought. "I've seen a ghost." The thought sent a shiver down her spine. Maybe a delusion would have been better. Xiao Xiao trudged to her seat, only to find the girl with glasses sitting next to her. The girl looked at Xiao Xiao, slumped over her desk. "So we're desk mates. What a coincidence." Xiao Xiao, having just witnessed the girl's apparent supernatural abilities, responded politely. The girl then asked, "Is the talisman still working?" Xiao Xiao confirmed that it was, but admitted to some lingering side effects. She turned her head to demonstrate. The other students, while human-shaped, still had the heads of various animals in her vision. The girl with glasses pondered this for a moment. "It seems my formula still needs some tweaking, but for a first prototype, it's exceeded my expectations." She struck a pose. "As the first test subject, you must feel quite honored." Just then, Feng Yimo walked in a classroom. Everyone fell silent, their gazes fixed on him. Xiao Xiao watched him, thinking that despite his eccentricities, he did seem to have a certain glow about him. As he passed by her desk, she tried to greet him, but he walked right past, seemingly oblivious to her presence. To alleviate the awkwardness, Xiao Xiao, still in her mid-greeting pose, spontaneously burst into a mountain song. Mountain to mountain, cliff to cliff, bees gather honey deep in the hills. Hearing her outburst, everyone's gaze shifted from Feng Yimo to her. Just as Xiao Xiao felt she was about to die of embarrassment, someone unexpectedly joined in, echoing her mountain song. They even mimicked her dance moves. In that moment, Xiao Xiao's awkwardness finally began to dissipate. However, just then, the girl with glasses suddenly appeared behind her. "You know," she began, "Feng Yimo, he's actually..." But before she could finish, Xiao Xiao, sensing her presence, jumped with a start. "Why do you always sneak up on people?" The girl with glasses didn't respond to Xiao Xiao's outburst, instead finishing her interrupted sentence. "Feng Yimo, he's actually a wizard." Hearing this, Xiao Xiao's eyes widened in sudden understanding. "So that's it. That's why Little Wong looks like him to me." It was all Feng Yimo's wizardry. Having found an explanation for the strange phenomena she'd witnessed, Xiao Xiao looked at the girl with glasses with a renewed sense of suspicion. The girl with glasses quickly defended herself. "I'm not just making things up. If he wasn't using wizardry, how else could he draw everyone's attention to him like that?" Considering this, Xiao Xiao glanced back and saw that Feng Yimo had taken the seat behind her. Confused, she asked, "Couldn't it just be because of his face?" Determined to prove her point, the girl with glasses then presented what she claimed was evidence. She held out her phone, revealing a forum post titled "Feng Yimo, the Wizard Appa from the Stars." Xiao Xiao's face darkened at this seemingly irrefutable evidence. Just then, a voice boomed from behind her. Ming Pan Pan, stop misleading the seer. Xiao Xiao whirled around to find a towering figure, nearly 7 feet tall, with hair that accounted for half their height, a human hazelnut. Before Xiao Xiao could fully process the shock, the giant gestured at the phone screen. There are no ghosts in this world. Feng Yimo is clearly an alien. The reason he's so attractive to women is his alien magnetic field. Xiao Xiao's opinion seemed irrelevant at this point. Ming Pan Pan immediately retorted, he's clearly a wizard. The two continued to argue, their voices rising, while the subject of their debate, Feng Yimo, watched the spectacle with amusement. And so, Xiao Xiao spent her first high school class amidst this bizarre dispute. Exhausted after class, Xiao Xiao was approached by her best friend. Just as she was about to vent, her friend turned and gasped, "Whoa, there's really someone from the plant kingdom." Xiao Xiao followed her gaze and saw the person her friend was referring to. They looked exactly like a giant scallion. Her friend continued, "Xiao Xiao, seriously? That's your classmate. Your class is so famous now. Of course, besides Feng Yimo being in your classmates are divided into 4 kingdoms based on their appearance. The plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, and the supernatural kingdom." Listening to her friend, Xiao Xiao realized they were seeing the same world. She looked around at her animal-headed classmates, then down at the talisman in her hand. It dawned on her that everyone saw the same thing. It wasn't some after effect of the talisman. The talisman was flawless. Back home after school, she looked at little Wang, who looked like a man in a dog suit. Did the talisman not work on me? She wondered. She grabbed him and slapped the talisman onto his head. But being so close to her crush, even in dog form, made her heart race. Frustrated, she cried out, "Please, stop making my heart race for a stupid dog." The next morning, Xiao Xiao finally gave in. She went to the hospital and made an appointment with a psychiatrist. What finally broke her? It all started with her morning dog walk. She hadn't used a leash, and in the blink of an eye, little Wang had vanished. After a desperate search, she finally spotted him in a secluded spot. But as she approached, she realized little Wang was staring intently at a pile of dog poop. She suddenly remembered something a wise person once told her. Whenever a dog sees poop, a devil whispers, "Roll in it." Then an angel appears and whispers, "Eat it." A sense of dread washed over Xiao Xiao. She yelled, "Stop," and tackled little Wang to the ground. This time, she wasn't embarrassed. She was too focused on the mess on little Wang's face. "You didn't, did you?" Xiao Xiao leaned in and sniffed. No foul odor. However, just as she let her guard down, little Wang suddenly started licking her cheek. You know what the most terrifying thing is? It's seeing half a fly while eating an apple. In that moment, fueled by her imagination, Xiao Xiao's blood-curdling screams echoed throughout the neighborhood. She quickly washed herself clean when she got home. To clean little Wang, Xiao Xiao even resorted to clinging to her mother's leg, begging for help. The response she received, however, was a forceful deterrent. She also tried calling her best friend, but her friend cruelly hung up on her. The reason Xiao Xiao didn't want to clean him wasn't because she found him dirty. After all, she had indirectly eaten poop before. The main reason was that, in her eyes, little Wang looked like her crush, Feng Yimo. She absolutely couldn't bring herself to bathe and dress him. Initially, Xiao Xiao went to the hospital and told the doctor everything that had happened. The doctor examined her eyes. There was nothing wrong. Then, the doctor recommended she visit the psychiatry department next door. Once there, Xiao Xiao first described her symptoms, then underwent an examination. Finally, the doctor diagnosed her with Alzheimer's. To put it simply, senile dementia. Seeing how unreliable both options were, Xiao Xiao finally turned to theology. Back home, she meditated and chanted the Heart Sutra a few times. Then she started to work on little Wang. However, little Wang, like most puppies, had a fear of water for the first time. Xiao Xiao tugged and pulled, but couldn't get him in. Instead, she ended up falling in herself. That wasn't the end of it. While Little Black was pawing around little Wang, he suddenly pulled off the towel wrapped around him. Seeing that in such a position, Xiao Xiao immediately cried out, "I'll never get married." Finally, Xiao Xiao snapped. In that moment, she almost wanted to stew little Wang. Fueled by rage, she finished washing him in record time. The next thing she knew, Xiao Xiao was blow-drying little Wang's fur. Looking at the docile puppy before her, Xiao Xiao finally relaxed. "Not bad. You've been good since just now." Suddenly, she didn't feel like having dog hot pot as much anymore. However, just as she was feeling relieved, little Wong made another move. He picked up a toy from the floor and offered it to her. And most importantly, he actually said Xiao Xiao's name. In that moment, the value Xiao Xiao had accumulated over 9 years of education began to crumble completely. She roared, "Am I hallucinating? No, gods, Buddha, heavens, anyone, please save me." After calming down, Xiao Xiao took out the previous diagnosis from the hospital. Maybe I should go back to the hospital. Fortunately, she had a strong ability to cope. After all, things were already like this. What else could she do but accept it? The next day, Xiao Xiao went to a picnic spot as previously arranged with her best friend. However, just as she was getting ready, her best friend suddenly called. "I'm so sorry, but Uncle Lou's brat suddenly said he's coming over, and my dad insists I keep him company." Clearly, she couldn't make it, but the food was already prepared, so Xiao Xiao decided to just eat it herself. However, when she opened the basket, she found it completely empty. Then, as she looked down again to confirm, she saw Little Black suddenly appear in the basket. Just as a bewildered Xiao Xiao was still processing her bewilderment, Little Black darted up a nearby tree. But when Xiao Xiao chased after him to the base of the tree, she saw a beautiful girl sleeping in the branches. At that moment, Little Black climbed onto her. The girl was startled awake, and Xiao Xiao finally got a clear look at her face. Xiao Xiao felt a blush creep up her cheeks. The girl was incredibly beautiful and somewhat familiar. The girl hugged Little Black. Xiao Xiao spoke up, "Excuse me, that's my cat." However, before the girl could respond, Little Black suddenly leaped off her, giving her a kick as he went. The girl was knocked out of the tree by Little Black. Xiao Xiao rushed forward to catch her, but not only did she fail to catch her, she became a human cushion. The girl suddenly clutched her head and stood up, saying, "Oh no, I think I've lost my memory from the fall." Xiao Xiao was dumbfounded. "What? You didn't even hit your head, and I cushioned your fall." The girl then added, "My leg hurts too. I don't think I can walk." Xiao Xiao had no choice but to carry her on her back. They attracted countless stares as they walked. Of course, everyone was looking at the beautiful girl on her back. As she walked, Xiao Xiao thought, "I know she's faking it, so why am I listening to her? I hate this world that judges by appearances." Just as Xiao Xiao was inwardly complaining, they passed a burger joint. The girl behind her, the one who supposedly couldn't walk, suddenly leaped down and dashed towards the restaurant, chattering excitedly about wanting to eat. Xiao Xiao practically saw red. "You said you couldn't walk. I've been carrying you like a pack mule." But before she could finish, the girl was already ordering, pointing at pictures on the menu, and requesting one of everything. The girl left the counter, positively beaming, leaving Xiao Xiao's once plump wallet considerably thinner. But the real surprise was yet to come. Xiao Xiao followed her into the restaurant, intending to grab a bite herself, only to discover that in the space of a minute, the girl had devoured absolutely everything. So Xiao Xiao's picnic not only ended with her eating nothing, but she also seemed to have acquired a freeloading house guest. Later, staring at the girl's clothes, Xiao Xiao wondered, "Why do I have to provide you with a change of clothes, too?" The girl simply replied, "Because it's your cat that made me fall out of the tree and lose my memory." Xiao Xiao was speechless. The girl took the offered clothes and turned to change, reminding Xiao Xiao not to peek. After a day of nothing but setbacks, Xiao Xiao felt a surge of frustration and decided to call her best friend, Lily, to vent. Before she could even speak, Lily's voice burst through the receiver. "Xiao Xiao, are you home? That little rascal isn't with you, is he? I'm coming over." Without giving Xiao Xiao a chance to complain, Lily rattled on for a bit longer before hanging up. Just as Xiao Xiao finished grumbling about the call, a scream echoed from the bathroom. Xiao Xiao whirled around. "Little Wong, how could you peek at a girl?" As soon as the words left her mouth, Little Wong, Xiao Xiao's dog, darted out of the bathroom clutching a wig, followed closely by the girl, who was now undeniably a boy. The boy suddenly leaned in, trapping Xiao Xiao against the wall. "I was going to see how long it would take you to realize I was faking," he said, "but I had so much fun, I'll give you a little thank you." He kissed Xiao Xiao on the cheek. Just then, Lily's voice called from the doorway. "Xiao Xiao, why is your door unlocked?" She stepped inside and froze, taking in the scene of the two seemingly embracing. In a flash, Lily grabbed the boy and pulled him away. She then explained everything to a bewildered Xiao Xiao. The boy was the little rascal she'd mentioned on the phone. Now subdued, the boy, whose name was apparently Xiong Haizi, admitted his motive. He'd wanted to see what kind of person Lily was always talking about. Xiao Xiao understood. He was clearly blaming her for taking up too much of Lily's time. Suddenly, Xiao Xiao realized that Xiong Haizi looked exactly like her idol, Lu Haoqi from TV. No wonder he'd seemed familiar. While Xiao Xiao stared, lost in thought, Lily dragged Xiong Haizi out of the apartment. Before Xiao Xiao could confirm his suspicions, they were gone. Snapping back to reality, she remembered her brave little black cat. Turning around, she was met with a sight that made her jaw drop. Little Black had transformed into the spitting image of her idol, Lu Haoqi. To make sure she wasn't hallucinating, Xiao Xiao studied him for a moment. Little Black's every mannerism, especially his aloof demeanor, was identical to Lu Haoqi's. Somehow, both a heartthrob and an idol had become her pets. By now, Xiao Xiao was getting used to these bizarre occurrences. But the Lu Haoqi incident stung the most. The next day, when Lily delivered a letter of apology, Xiao Xiao declared, "Even 100 million couldn't mend the wound in my heart." What Xiao Xiao truly wanted was her little black back. The next day at school, during break time, Xiao Xiao and Pan Pan were chatting. Suddenly, something flashed past the window. At first, Xiao Xiao thought she was seeing things. After all, they were on the 3rd floor. But when she looked again, she saw a figure climbing the window. "Monster!" Xiao Xiao blurted out instinctively. The figure crashed through the window, landing right in front of Xiao Xiao and grabbing her chin. "How dare you? How dare you call this magnificent beauty a monster?" "Even if I were a monster," the figure continued, suddenly brandishing a knife and pointing at Feng Yimo, "I'd be the most beautiful monster." Then, in a bizarre twist, "It's you. You're the one threatening my position as the most beautiful being in this school." Xiao Xiao was completely baffled. Who are you?" Pan Pan whispered from the side. "I heard the previous school heartthrob was a narcissist named Sha Jun. That's definitely got to be him." Looking closer, Xiao Xiao saw Sha Jun holding a wooden sword. He was dressed like a Japanese ronin. Suddenly, he swung the wooden sword, planting it firmly in the floor right next to Feng Yimo. However, this dramatic move resulted in a splinter flying up and scratching Xiao Xiao's face. "Ow," she yelped. "Can you aim a little better? What did I ever do to you?" Sha Jun ignored her, continuing to taunt Feng Yimo. "You've been ignoring me this whole time, haven't you? Looking down on me. Well, in that case, let's settle this. A duel to the death." Seeing that Sha Jun was serious about the duel, Xiao Xiao rushed to intervene. "Wait a minute. Feng Yimo's face is pretty nice, I guess, but he's not only incredibly nearsighted and constantly walks into walls, but he also has a terrible memory. He's practically prematurely senile. How could you bring yourself to hurt someone as challenged as him?" Just then, Feng Yimo walked up to Sha Jun. He bowed his hands and simply said, "I surrender." Xiao Xiao was dumbfounded. How could he give up so easily? Sha Jun scoffed. "You two are in cahoots, aren't you? Try and make a fool of me." He swung his sword again, but this time, it was aimed at Xiao Xiao, who stood between them. Just as the blade was about to connect, her idol, Feng Yimo, stepped in front of her, shielding her from the blow. Did he just catch the blade with his bare hands? Xiao Xiao wondered, turning to look. She realized Feng Yimo had actually blocked the sword with his forearm. Sha Jun stared, stunned. After a long pause, he slowly turned around. "You know what? I just remembered I have something to do. We'll settle this another day." Feng Yimo stopped him. Xiao Xiao expected him to demand an apology, but instead, he simply said, "I'm not interested." Sha Jun ignored him and walked slowly toward the classroom door. He left because the impact had cracked his wooden sword. He muttered under his breath, "That brat, he's not as simple as he looks," and disappeared into the crowd. Xiao Xiao watched him go, too afraid to speak. "Aren't you going to pay for that window?" she thought. Seeing that he had no intention of stopping, she decided to let it go and turned her attention to her idol. "Are you okay? Is your arm all right?" "I'm used to it," Feng Yimo replied. Xiao Xiao pulled up his sleeve to check. There wasn't a mark. "Well, I guess that makes sense," she mused. "With your eyesight, you must be constantly running into walls and tumbling downstairs. A little scratch like that is probably nothing." Seeing her concern, Feng Yimo reached out and gently touched the scratch on Xiao Xiao's face. "Your face is hurt. A girl's face is very important." He then licked her cheek twice. "There, all better." Xiao Xiao's initial Gandong, move/touched, turned to disdain. "Are you kidding me? You said it was important. Do you think your saliva is some kind of magic potion?" Xiao Xiao then headed to the infirmary. Finding it empty, she walked straight in. As she rummaged through the medicine cabinet, a voice suddenly spoke from behind her. "You just need some rubbing alcohol for that." Turning around, she saw a boy in a school uniform. He quickly located the alcohol and handed it to her. Xiao Xiao took it and poured some out. Noticing his hair was covering his eyes, she asked with concern, "Can you even see where you're going like that?" She rummaged in her pocket and pulled out a hair tie using it to tie back the boy's hair. Now, she could finally see his face clearly. Before she could even react to his appearance, the boy brushed her hand away. You're the type of person who meddles in other people's business without understanding the situation. He has prosopagnosia. Xiao Imo. He doesn't have a bad memory, and he's not senile. Xiao Xiao's mind filled with questions. She figured Xiao Imo must be Feng Yimo. The boy continued to explain. It's harder for him to remember faces than poems or formulas. It's difficult for us normal people to understand what Xiao Imo goes through. Xiao Xiao replied, I may not fully understand, but I've always believed that appearances aren't everything. Everyone's voice, movements, expressions, and way of speaking are different. The boy agreed. I just wish Xiao Imo would realize that too. Xiao Xiao promised to tell him. After the boy encouraged her, he left. At that moment, Xiao Xiao felt a surge of determination for the future. Is this what life is about? Constantly challenging yourself and trying new things. However, after returning home from school, Xiao Xiao learned another life lesson. That life will occasionally slap you hard across the face. She saw that her little white mouse and little white rabbit had transformed, one into Xia Zhen and the other into the boy she'd met in the infirmary. Life didn't stop for Xiao Xiao's astonishment. Her bizarre journey continued. At 5:30 that morning, little Wang, her dog, started licking her fingers, wanting to be taken out to play. Xiao Xiao was so sleepy she could barely open her eyes, but she suddenly felt a commotion on the bed and woke up with a start. Sitting up and looking back, she found her 4 dads jostling around on the bed. Clearly, sleep was no longer an option. Resigned, Xiao Xiao took little Wang downstairs, thinking, if this keeps up, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. Lost in thought, she bumped into Feng Yimo, who was frozen in a strange pose. Xiao Xiao was a little put off. Can't you have a little self-awareness as a heartthrob? She thought. But just as she finished her internal complaint, Feng Yimo suddenly scooped up a large ginger cat from the bushes. Only then did Xiao Xiao understand. His bizarre posture had been a stalking position. He really did love animals. However, just as she'd figured this out, the large ginger cat scratched Feng Yimo and darted back into the bushes. Seeing his scratched cheek, Xiao Xiao thoughtfully offered him a band-aid. Feng Yimo quickly thanked her, finally recognizing Xiao Xiao thanks to little Wang. Xiao Xiao, used to his forgetfulness, pointed to his cheek. Shouldn't you get that looked at the hospital? You usually need a rabies shot after an animal bite, she said. Feng Yimo, however, dismissed it, saying some antiseptic at home would be fine. Watching him about to leave, Xiao Xiao thought, I met Feng Yimo in this park last time too. Does he live nearby? Could we be in the same complex? Lost in these thoughts, she looked up and saw the dilapidated buildings around them. Living here feels like a recipe for an early grave, she thought. Then, she followed her idol upstairs. Upon entering his apartment, she was stunned into silence. The first thing that caught her, I was a mountain of instant noodles. After looking around, she realized the place was truly as run down on the inside as it appeared on the outside. The thought of Feng Yimo living in such a place, seemingly alone, filled her mind. As she pondered this, Feng Yimo handed her a chipped, 80s-era enamel mug. Have some water. Sorry, I don't usually have guests. This is my only cup. Xiao Xiao accepted it, a blush creeping across her face. It was Feng Yimo's personal cup. However, when she saw the chipped rim, she lost her composure. Couldn't he get one? That isn't broken. Just how poor is he? She wondered. Then, Feng Yimo brought out a first aid kit, surprisingly stocked with all sorts of medications. His explanation? He got scratched often. As he took out a cotton swab and iodine to tend to his wound, Xiao Xiao rushed over to help. Dabbing at the scratch, she asked, puzzled, You love animals so much. Why don't you get one? Feng Yimo smiled. I can barely take care of myself, let alone another living being. When you decide to keep a pet, he continued, you have to be ready to take responsibility for their entire life. Their world revolves around you. His words resonated deeply with Xiao Xiao. She patted Feng Yimo's head, exclaiming, You're such a good boy. The next second, she realized the impropriety of her action. It's a habit from petting little Wang, she thought, panicking. But this is Feng Yimo himself. Just as she was flustered, Feng Yimo chuckled and said, Thanks for the compliment. Xiao Xiao froze. He was even kinder than she'd imagined. Overcome with emotion, she took his hand and declared earnestly, Please be my friend. As Feng Yimo stammered, Try to respond, Xiao Xiao interrupted. I know you have prosopagnosia. This surprised Feng Yimo. How did you know? He asked, his gaze involuntarily dropping to their joined hands. Noticing the intimacy, Xiao Xiao quickly let go. A boy with hair covering his eyes told me, she explained. Hearing this, Feng Yimo uttered the name Gumu. He keeps his hair like that, so I can recognize him more easily, he explained. Xiao Xiao, recalling the scene in the infirmary, realized the truth. So, both of you are kind and caring, she murmured, blushing. I'm so envious of your friendship. As Feng Yimo listened, about to make a self-deprecating remark, Xiao Xiao covered his eyes. Don't rely so much on your sight, she said. Even without seeing, you can sense the differences between people. Different scents, different voices, different ways of moving and behaving. Try to feel with your heart. Feng Yimo's eyes lit up at Xiao Xiao's suggestion. Following her instructions, he slowly closed his eyes and gently touched her face. I'll try my best to remember your voice and scent, he murmured, but I can't make any promises. A sudden memory flickered through Feng Yimo's mind. Someone had once lectured him about the meaning of friendship, but the words now echoed with a painful irony. They said, "What are friends? But in your eyes, I'm no different from anyone else. I don't want that kind of friendship," he thought, his voice trailing off. As if sensing his inner turmoil, Xiao Xiao quickly spoke. "It's okay," she reassured him. "Even if you don't recognize me, I won't be angry, because I believe that one day you'll see how everyone is different. Why not start with me? Wouldn't that be nice?" Feng Yimo's thoughts scattered. He reached out and ruffled Xiao Xiao's hair. "That's very nice," he agreed. Xiao Xiao's heart pounded in her chest after receiving the affectionate head pat from her idol. Flustered, she quickly said goodbye and hurried home with little Wang. After seeing Xiao Xiao off, Feng Yimo returned to his apartment and noticed a letter on the table. It bore a single, striking sentence. "Xiao Mo, I'm back." He picked it up, the word friend echoing in his mind. Meanwhile, Xiao Xiao, having dropped little Wang off at home, changed into her school uniform and headed out. She was in high spirits and even bumped into a familiar face, the boy from the infirmary. "Gumu," she called out excitedly. "Feng Yimo and I are friends now." But to her surprise, Gumu turned his head away and walked off without a word. Xiao Xiao was left bewildered. Is he angry? She wondered. With a sigh, she headed to class. She took out 3 cups and approached Feng Yimo's desk. "Here, this is for you," she said, offering him a cup. "Now Gumu and I can use our own cups when we visit." Feng Yimo stared at her, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. "So, you were the girl from yesterday?" Xiao Xiao's face burned with embarrassment. "So he doesn't even know I'm his classmate," she thought. Is it too late to unfriend him? The weekend arrived, and she went out with Lily. Lily, full of energy, raced ahead. Lily glanced back at Xiao Xiao and burst out laughing. "Seriously? We finally get to hang out, and you bring your old men with you?" Xiao Xiao sighed. Her plush toys had clung to her leg as she left, refusing to be left behind. Just then, an old woman approached them. "Young ladies, are you here on holiday?" she asked. "Well, you should be careful. He will come today." Intrigued by the cryptic warning, Xiao Xiao turned to ask who he was, but the woman had vanished. They checked into a Western-style hotel, their room on the 2nd floor, number 204. As they entered, Lily gasped. "This is perfect." Xiao Xiao, unpacking by the window, spotted the old woman again down below. "Whoa, she's back," she muttered. Lily looked up from her own unpacking. "What's back?" Xiao Xiao was about to explain about the old woman, but when she looked again, the woman was gone. Lily, unfazed, patted Xiao Xiao on the back. "Come on, don't worry about it. We're here to enjoy nature. Flowers, grass, sunshine, and a gentle breeze. This is the life," Lily declared. Xiao Xiao, soothed by the idyllic surroundings, watched her plush toys frolic on the lawn and forgot all about the mysterious old woman. A hotel employee approached with a plate of fruit. "Excuse me, we grew these watermelons ourselves. Please enjoy." Xiao Xiao took a bite and exclaimed, "So sweet." Then, she casually asked, "Is there an old woman who works here?" The employee's face paled, her eyes wide with fear. "You saw her?" she whispered. "Please, pretend you didn't see anything." With that cryptic statement, she hurried away. Lily, having overheard the exchange, turned to Xiao Xiao. "Do you believe in ghosts?" she asked. "There's a story about this resort. They say the original owner was an old woman whose children refused to care for her. She was very lonely. Every day, she watched happy families on vacation. Envy turned to jealousy, and jealousy to resentment. One day, she died, filled with bitterness. But they say her resentment never left this place." Xiao Xiao, thoroughly spooked by Lily's story, dropped her watermelon. They spent the rest of the day enjoying the resort, but by the time they returned to their room, Lily was exhausted and ready for bed. After Xiao Xiao finished crying, the two turned off the lights and went to bed. In the middle of the night, something strange happened. Xiao Xiao suddenly heard someone calling her name. Listening carefully, it wasn't just once. But she was quick-witted. She thought that if someone called your name in the middle of the night, you shouldn't answer. Pretending to be asleep was the best course of action. However, just then, the voice drew closer and suddenly pulled off Xiao Xiao's blanket. Just as Xiao Xiao was so scared, she almost lost control of her bladder. She unexpectedly saw it was her best friend. Xiao Xiao, you're clearly awake. Why are you ignoring me? After turning her head and confirming it was Lily, Xiao Xiao quickly regained control. Why are you calling my name in the middle of the night? Lily voiced her confusion. Xiao Xiao, haven't you noticed anything strange? I was scared to tell you at first, but the more I think about it, the stranger it gets. A lot of paranormal things happened today, actually. Listening to Lily's description, Xiao Xiao's hair began to stand on end. However, Lily's next words made her jaw drop. For example, the blanket moved even though no one was there. The TV also turned itself on and changed channels. The scariest thing is that my dried fish snacks are all gone, and only the dried fish snacks. Everything Lily described was clearly the work of Xiao Xiao's four dads. Just as Xiao Xiao was letting her guard down, Lily suddenly added, and did you hear it? That faint crying sound. Just as Xiao Xiao pricked up her ears to listen carefully, Lily suddenly stood up. I don't believe in ghosts. I'm going to see what's going on. Saying this, she ran out of the room, scaring Xiao Xiao into chasing after her. However, when she reached the staircase, Lily was nowhere to be seen. Xiao Xiao looked at the pitch-black staircase leading upwards. Did she go upstairs? Thinking this, she hurried up the stairs. Upon reaching the upper floor, she discovered the entire floor was pitch black. She couldn't see a thing. Just then, she noticed a room with a light on. Walking over to investigate, she realized the crying was coming from inside. Peeking through the crack in the door, she unexpectedly saw the old woman. The old woman also saw her. Xiao Xiao jumped in fright and tried to run back, but bumped into someone. Looking up, she saw it was someone who looked like Feng Yimo. Xiao Xiao's first thought was, Little Wang? How'd he follow me here? The situation was urgent, so without thinking, she grabbed Feng Yimo and started to run. The old woman chased after them, but Xiao Xiao was nowhere to be seen. She instinctively glanced at the next room and noticed signs that it had been opened. So, she pushed the door open and went inside. It was also pitch black. Sure enough, Xiao Xiao was hiding inside. At this moment, she was praying frantically, Please, Little Wang, don't bark. But this closet is so cramped. I can hear my own heartbeat so clearly. The old woman, after searching the room, realized the closet was the only hiding place. She walked over and opened the closet door, scolding Xiao Xiao inside. What are you doing hiding in there? Come out. At the same time, Lily, who had come upstairs earlier, heard the commotion. I finally found you. I'm going to see what kind of ghost this is. When she arrived in the room, she saw the three of them in a strange tableau. Looking at Little Wang, Xiao Xiao suddenly realized he didn't have dog ears. This was the real Feng Yimo. Finally, after everyone explained, they realized it had all been a misunderstanding. The old woman wasn't dead at all. When the old woman said she would come today, she meant Feng Yimo would come to work and earn money. She meant to say to be on the lookout and not miss the handsome boy. As for the staff being nervous, it was because the old woman, ever since Feng Yimo started working there, had experienced a resurgence of girlish feelings and often walked around in dresses. The staff just didn't want anyone to laugh at her. They just hoped everyone would pretend not to notice. After figuring all this out, Feng Yimo smiled at the old woman and said, You look lovely today, too. The old woman immediately covered her face shyly. Honestly, you know just how to make me happy. Xiao Xiao watched them earnestly. No, he definitely means it. You really are cute. Just as Xiao Xiao was feeling touched, Feng Yimo suddenly pushed a plate of snacks towards her and called out, Xiao Ji. Xiao Xiao's train of thought was immediately interrupted. Thanks, but I'm not Xiao Ji. She thought, he really doesn't recognize me. Unexpectedly, Feng Yimo continued, You're Xiao Ji, the classmate who sits in front of me, the one who found the puppy with me, because you have small eyes and a big face like a baby chick. Xiao Xiao was shocked by his description of her appearance. Are you sure you're not talking about a dog? Seeing how much he liked giving people nicknames, Xiao Xiao suddenly asked about the origin of Gumu's name. Feng Yimo's explanation for this Because it covers your eyes like an old English sheepdog, he'd said. Xiao Xiao was speechless. Hello? I did it for you. Doesn't your conscience hurt? It was only now that she remembered why Mu had been inexplicably angry that day when she'd greeted him. After the trip to the castle, Xiao Xiao enjoyed 2 peaceful days. This morning, she woke to find a note from her mother saying she was going away for 2 days to see her boss. Xiao Xiao saw this as her mother's usual tactic of disappearing every time a deadline approached. Grumbling to herself, she went downstairs, only to be seized by a coughing fit. She clearly had a cold. Dazed, she crossed the road without noticing the light had turned red. A black car appeared out of nowhere, bearing down on her. In that split second, Feng Yimo rushed forward and shoved her out of the way. Xiao Xiao, sprawled on the ground, looked up at her crush. The experience triggered a childhood memory. She'd been playing in the street, chasing a ball, when a truck came hurtling towards her. Just like now, someone had pushed her to safety, but that person had fallen into a pool of blood. It had become a deep-seated trauma. Now, remembering it, Xiao Xiao's face darkened. She looked at the concerned Feng Yimo and blurted out, "Why would you do that? Don't risk your life for me. If something happened to you, I'd be consumed with guilt." Feng Yimo was taken aback. "But I just saved you." Xiao Xiao quickly realized her outburst and apologized, then started coughing violently again. Feng Yimo felt her forehead, finding it burning hot. "You have a high fever. Call in sick today. I'll take you to the hospital." Xiao Xiao refused to go to the hospital. Having no other choice, Feng Yimo carried her home on his back. On the way, he asked gently, "Why did you react like that before?" Xiao Xiao's expression turned sad. "When I was little, I ran into the street. My dad to save me." She trailed off, falling asleep against him. Hearing this, Feng Yimo's face softened with understanding. They soon reached Xiao Xiao's house. Feng Yimo knocked on the door. It creaked open, revealing Little Wang. Feng Yimo was puzzled. "Did you just open the door for me?" He carried Xiao Xiao to her bed. The 4 pets gathered around. Feng Yimo found Xiao Xiao's keys and went out to buy medicine. As he opened the door, he witnessed a startling sight. The 4 pets, as if understanding his intentions, followed him to the door, seeing him off. The moment he left, they transformed into Feng Yimo's likeness. They returned to Xiao Xiao's bedside, their faces etched with worry. After a while, Feng Yimo returned with the medicine. Entering the room, he saw the heartwarming scene. He sat down, sighing. "Even though you don't have a father, they truly love you." Another few hours passed. Xiao Xiao finally woke up. Looking around her room, she remembered Feng Yimo carrying her home. Touching the cooling patch on her forehead, she went into the living room and found him asleep. She understood. Even the slowest growing seed will sprout with sunshine and rain. As Xiao Xiao reached out to touch him, Feng Yimo stirred and opened his eyes. Just then, they heard the front door open. "Is that your mom?" Feng Yimo asked. "No way," Xiao Xiao replied. "When she's avoiding deadlines, she disappears for days. Not even a ghost could find her. Maybe it's a burglar." As she spoke, a man in travel clothes walked in. Alarmed, Feng Yimo sprang up and swiftly subdued him with a practiced move. Xiao Xiao stepped closer and recognized her father. It had all been a misunderstanding. Her father shed his heavy gear and changed into casual clothes. The 3 of them sat on the sofa. Xiao Xiao looked at him puzzled. "Dad, why are you back so suddenly? You didn't say anything." Her father didn't answer, instead turning to Feng Yimo. "Who's this kid?" Xiao Xiao quickly explained. "This is my classmate, Feng Yimo. He's always looking out for me." Her father's face darkened. Crushing the drink can in his hand, Feng Yimo sensed trouble. This was clearly directed at him. He quickly excused himself and took his leave. As he left, Feng Yimo, curious, asked Xiao Xiao, "When we came back earlier, you mentioned your father." Xiao Xiao, having fallen asleep earlier, recounted how she had saved her father again. She explained what had happened afterward. Her father had stayed in the hospital for over 2 months, and Xiao Xiao had cried alongside him for just as long. Feng Yimo, clearly still thinking about the previous incident, assumed her father was next door. Xiao Xiao quickly escorted him downstairs, and they bid each other farewell. Walking down the street, Feng Yimo recalled the scene of Xiao Xiao surrounded by her family and sighed. It must be nice to be cherished like that, he thought. Xiao Xiao's condition improved rapidly. This particular weekend, he took Little Wang for a walk. Every time he saw Little Wang, he was reminded of how much he'd been troubling Feng Yimo lately and wondered if he should do something in return. Just then, Little Wang stopped in front of him, indicating something he'd found. Xiao Xiao followed his gaze and saw a vibrant, blooming rose. Little Wang clearly wanted him to pick it for her, but Xiao Xiao quickly objected. No, Little Wang, we can't damage the plants in public places. Do you understand? Just then, a beautiful woman with long hair walked by, cradling a bouquet of roses and talking on her phone. Little Wang, captivated, stared at her, his eyes never leaving the flowers. Xiao Xiao, exasperated, said, Come on, Little Wang, don't just freeze every time you see a pretty girl. She tugged at him, but he wouldn't budge. At that moment, a little girl walked past. A sudden gust of wind blew the little girl's hat off her head. Xiao Xiao caught it and handed it back to her. Turning back, she realized Little Wang was gone. Furious, she thought, that dog, he must have run off with the pretty lady. Grumbling, she started after the woman. Catching up, Xiao Xiao politely inquired about her dog. The woman explained, that dog kept following me, staring at my flowers, so I gave him one. Then he ran off after another girl with flowers. Thanking her, Xiao Xiao continued her pursuit, wondering, why is that silly dog suddenly so interested in flowers? She searched and searched, asking several people along the way, but as the sun began to set, there was still no sign of Little Wang. Exhausted, Xiao Xiao collapsed onto a bench and started to complain. How am I supposed to find him? He's such a dumb dog. All he does at home is cause trouble. He eats so much, chews on everything, and hates baths. He even turns into Feng Yimo and does weird things. It's because of that idiot, Little Wang, that even Big Meow, Tutu, and Shoo Shoo are acting strange. Good riddance. I won't even be sad. Despite her words, tears welled up in her eyes. Suddenly, she heard Little Wang barking behind her. He came running towards her, excitedly clutching an assortment of flowers. He offered them a Xiao Xiao, but she swatted them away, scolding him. You just take off without a word, and then reappear out of nowhere. What if you've been caught and made in a hot pot? What if you've been hit by a car? What if other dogs had bullied you? I was worried sick, like an idiot. Why can't you think about how other people feel? Little Wang, seeing her anger, panicked. He stammered, I'm sorry. I didn't want to make you cry. Just then, it started to pour. By the time they got home, they were both soaked. Xiao Xiao ignored Little Wang the entire way, storming off to take a shower and asking her father to wash and dry Little Wang. After her shower, Xiao Xiao saw a scene on TV of someone proposing with a bouquet of flowers. In that moment, she understood why Little Wang had suddenly become so enamored with flowers, going so far as to collect so many. Turning around, she saw Little Wang offering her a bouquet. Xiao Xiao took the flowers and, under Little Wang's expectant gaze, smiled happily. Little Wang smiled back. You dummy, she said. I'm not happy because of the flowers. Little Wang, delighted, seemed to remember something and ran off. Watching him go, Xiao Xiao suddenly realized something. Where did he get all these flowers? And why do they look so familiar? While still puzzled, Little Wang excitedly brought back several more flowers. At that moment, Xiao Xiao finally understood. Mrs. Lu next door had a pot of identical flowers. Sure enough, Little Wang had practically scalped the poor plant. The next morning, a shriek echoed from next door. My flowers! A few days passed. The math tests were handed back. Xiao Xiao had only scored a 59. She was still a long way from the top 30 in her grade. Just as despair began to set in, Pan Pan, sitting beside her, looked over. Xiao Xiao, fancy us having so much in common. It turned out Pan Pan had also scored a 59. Watching him celebrate, Xiao Xiao felt mortified. At lunchtime, Feng Yimo was about to enjoy his instant noodle lunch when Xiao Xiao suddenly approached him, offering a package. I knew you'd be eating instant noodles again. Honestly, eating instant noodles at your age will stunt your growth. After saying this, she paused to think, suddenly remembering that he was 1.80 meters tall while she was only 1.55. Embarrassed, she quickly changed tack. I mean, it'll affect your intelligence. But then she remembered he was also at the top of their grade. Xiao Xiao was practically in tears. Never mind, give me some of those noodles too. Feng Yimo, watching her antics, chuckled. Then he unwrapped the package she'd given him. I can't believe there are still girls who make their own lunch boxes these days. Xiao Xiao, this feels so homey. Realizing his wording was a bit off, Feng Yimo quickly corrected himself. I mean, like a motherly feeling. Xiao Xiao was exhausted. Just say thank you, Auntie, and I'll be happy. Meanwhile, Feng Yimo began to devour the food, murmuring about how delicious it was. Xiao Xiao, surprised, asked, Really? If you like it, I can make it for you every day. Of course, you'd have to do me a favor in return. Intrigued, Feng Yimo followed, Xiao Xiao home. The favor she needed was for him to bathe little Wang. As Feng Yimo geared up, wearing protective clothing, Xiao Xiao worried. Are you sure you can handle him alone? Little Wang absolutely hates baths. Feng Yimo gave her a confident smile. Don't worry, I'm good at this. Xiao Xiao was touched. He's an angel. Thank you so much. I used to think you were weird. I'm so sorry. Feng Yimo got to work, and Xiao Xiao went to the living room to review her incorrect test answers. After a while, she realized she didn't understand a single one. Just as she was getting frustrated, little Wang bolted from the bathroom and jumped on her, sending her test papers flying. Feng Yimo emerged from the bathroom just as the papers landed squarely on his face. Xiao Xiao's heart sank. Shame washed over her. It was the test she'd scored lowest on. She felt utterly humiliated. However, Feng Yimo didn't laugh. Instead, he patiently began explaining the problems to her. Little Wang, though, kept interrupting, even deliberately getting between them. Annoyed that her alone time with her crush was being ruined, Xiao Xiao snapped. Why can't you just be like Big Meow and sleep quietly in the living room? After her outburst, little Wang settled down, dejectedly padding towards the sofa. Looking at his retreating form, Xiao Xiao suddenly felt a pang of guilt. That's such a forlorn being. I feel strangely bad. Just then, Feng Yimo spoke. Xiao Xiao, have you noticed? Little Wang doesn't seem to want us to be alone together. Xiao Xiao's heart sank, but the next moment, little Wang dumped a pile of toys at her feet, wanting to play. Xiao Xiao's face darkened. Little Wang, I don't have time to play right now. I need to study. Studying is the most important thing in my life right now, you know? Little Wang, seemingly understanding, whined sadly. Suddenly, Xiao Xiao realized something. Wait a minute, did little Wang just talk? Did Feng Yimo hear that? She glanced at him, but he didn't seem to react strangely. From Feng Yimo's perspective, Xiao Xiao was simply facing a small white dog who had only barked in response. Just then, little Wang came up to Xiao Xiao. Do you really like studying that much? Xiao Xiao casually replied. It's not so much that I like it, it's more of a mission. As soon as the words left her mouth, Xiao Xiao remembered Feng Yimo was there. He smiled at her. A mission, huh? It's interesting to hear someone think of it that way. Xiao Xiao, seeing his surprise, retorted, Is it really that strange? I've lived like this for over a decade. Feng Yimo pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose. No, I don't think you're strange. It's just that I've always believed studying is a human instinct. Hearing this, Xiao Xiao momentarily questioned her entire existence. The way you talk makes me question my own species. Their banter continued until evening when Feng Yimo returned home. That night, Xiao Xiao had a nightmare. She dreamt she was locked in a fierce battle with a CT scanner. However, during Feng Yimo's absence, little Wang, her dog, stayed faithfully by her side. Several days passed in this manner. Liu Haoqi's boy band concert was fast approaching. Before the concert began, Xiao Xiao, in disguise, went to the venue. She was stopped by the security guard at the entrance. Resigned, Xiao Xiao pulled out her phone. Liu Haoqi told me to come. The security guard took the phone and, after confirming her story, allowed Xiao Xiao inside. Once inside, Xiao Xiao quickly found the boy band members playing around in the dressing room. Liu Haoqi, noticing her, burst out laughing at her rocky disguise. Xiao Xiao, seeing him mocking her, tossed the package she was carrying at him. Hurry up and eat. I need to get this food container back. The other members of the boy band, learning that food had arrived, quickly gathered around. Seeing Xiao Xiao's disguise, one of them remarked, Lily asked her to come? Didn't Lily come? This must be the new housekeeper Lily's family hired. Xiao Xiao was annoyed, but didn't say anything. The boys took their food and devoured it, exclaiming how delicious it was. Xiao Xiao watched them silently. These were her idols, but all she saw were handsome, overgrown children. The reason Xiao Xiao was here today was because she had received a desperate call from Lily early that morning. Lily had fallen down the stairs, and Inger had entrusted the task of delivering the food to Xiao Xiao. Just then, the boy band's manager suddenly appeared at the door. Looking at Xiao Xiao, he said, Another fan sneaking in? This is outrageous. One of the boys stood up from his seat. She's the housekeeper who brought Lily's food. The manager didn't pursue the matter further, but instead yelled at the boys. You're eating. Didn't I tell you to only eat your nutritional meals? Come on, you're about to go on stage. Stop eating and get ready. Seeing them start to apply their makeup, Xiao Xiao, her task complete, was about to say goodbye to Lu Haoqi and leave, but he stopped her. Since you're already here, do me another small favor. Soon, the concert began, and the fans below went wild. There's a certain type of person who belongs on a glittering stage, but there's also a type of person who is naturally suited to blending into the crowd. The favor Lu Haoqi had asked of Xiao Xiao was to dress up as a mascot to energize the crowd during the concert. But having never experienced anything like this before, how could she not be nervous facing the massive crowd on stage? Just as she froze, completely unable to move, Lu Haoqi suddenly turned around and took her hand. Xiao Xiao looked up and saw the other members of the boy band smiling and waving at her. At that moment, Xiao Xiao understood. They weren't just shining themselves. Those who shone brightly could also give courage to others. No longer nervous, Xiao Xiao quickly joined them, singing, dancing, and rapping along. However, just as everything was going smoothly, a water bottle suddenly flew up from the audience. Xiao Xiao quickly noticed and instinctively pulled Lu Haoqi into a protective hug. The water bottle hit Xiao Xiao's leg. The force of the impact even dented the mascot costume. Turning around, Xiao Xiao still remembered to interact with the fans. After the performance, they returned to the dressing room. Lu Haoqi leaned in close, looking at Xiao Xiao with concern. Is your leg all right? You blocked that water bottle that was thrown at me, didn't you? Hearing this, the other members crowded around. Did the housekeeper get hit? Seeing their concern, Xiao Xiao reassured them. It did hit me, but the costume is thick, so it's nothing serious. But do you often have to deal with things like this? Lu Haoqi chuckled. It can't be helped. We're too popular. The fans love us. That's why they do things like that. Xiao Xiao couldn't understand. So they did that because they love you too much. Looking at her serious expression, Lu Haoqi burst out laughing. Why are you suddenly angry? If there are people who like us, of course there will be people who hate us too. Xiao Xiao was even more perplexed. Why can you still laugh? Whether it's being liked or hated, isn't it all hurtful? If it were me, I would definitely cry. Lu Haoqi gently picked up the thread of the conversation. That's true. Along the way, there have indeed been many times when I felt sad and helpless. I've also been anxious and impulsive, hurting myself and others. Of course, I've cried, been angry, disappointed, and lost. In the end, we choose to move forward with a smile. Xiao Xiao glanced back at the other band members. Clearly, they felt the same. Just as she was about to express her thoughts, their manager suddenly burst through the door. You mischievous rascals. What are you all huddled up here for? You're about to go on stage. Are you ready? At his words, the contemplative air vanished, replaced by a surge of energy. They charged towards the stage. In that moment, watching their backs, Xiao Xiao felt her young heart stolen away. After the concert, Xiao Xiao, exhausted from helping out, went home and slept for a solid day. However, her much-needed rest was shattered by a cacophony of noise. Little Wong, her dog, had shredded paper strewn everywhere, and Little Black, the cat, had clawed the pillows to pieces. Looking at the chaotic scene created by her furry housemates, Xiao Xiao immediately started scolding them. This, unfortunately, disturbed her mother, who emerged from her room, dark circles under her eyes. Stop shouting. My head is killing me. I was up all night working on a deadline. She then promptly collapsed onto the floor, exhausted. The room was a disaster. Looking at the mess, Xiao Xiao had a sudden thought: run away. The next day, she told her best friend, Lily, about her plan, who enthusiastically supported her. Good for you, Xiao Xiao. Let all that housework go to hell. Just leave. Your goal: to be a normal teenager. Lily first dragged her to the mall. Trying on a particularly pink and frilly dress, Xiao Xiao looked at herself in the mirror. She liked it, but where was the normal part? Only the price was surprisingly normal. Lily, however, was thrilled. Surprise. These clothes are so cheap because they're made from recycled clothing. They're cleaned and sanitized, then cut and sewn by amateur seamstresses. The money goes to charity. Xiao Xiao was impressed, but still confused. But why are we dressing like this? With an air of mystery, Lily led her under an umbrella to a building. You'll see when you get inside. Following Lily in, Xiao Xiao saw Sha Zhan and blurted out, "What a narcissistic jerk." Sha Zhan, swirling a teacup, responded, "And who is this beautiful, but rather rude and lacking in discernment, young lady?" The other girls in the room glared at Xiao Xiao. Suddenly, Lily bowed deeply. Knight, this is my good friend, Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was stunned. Lily, you're calling that narcissistic freak Knight? She then began frantically shaking Lily. Lily, snap out of it. Are you brainwashed? Possessed? Did you join some weird cult? Continuing to shake Lily, she glared at Shahjan. Whatever it is, he's definitely behind it. Shahjan remained unfazed. Whatever. Since you're here, join us. The ritual is about to begin. His ominous words sent a shiver down Xiao Xiao's spine. A ritual? To summon a demon? It is a cult. Just as panic began to set in, Xiao Xiao noticed the other girls calmly going about their work. Lily quickly joined them, asking Xiao Xiao for help. Xiao Xiao picked up a box. What are you doing? Lily's eyes sparkled. Just like the knight said, it's a rebirth. We collect unwanted but still usable items, clean and sanitize them, and then give them to people in need or sell them. The money goes to charity. That's our mission, our rebirth. Xiao Xiao finally relaxed. I thought your activities just involved eating snacks and drinking tea. Without pausing her work, Lily replied, we have snacks too. There are girls who bake and package them, and then we deliver them to the knights who work hard to protect our city. Xiao Xiao felt ashamed. You do so much. I feel so shallow. I saw the nice building and clothes and assumed you were some kind of hedonistic club. I didn't understand anything. It's okay. I get it, Lily said, patting Xiao Xiao's head reassuringly. People always have misunderstandings and prejudices about things they don't understand. That's why understanding and communication are so important between people. Hearing Lily's words, Xiao Xiao snapped out of her daze. But looking at the busy crowd, she still asked a profound question. Say, where's your knight? Lily pointed with her finger. The knight should be in the side room. That one. However, that lingering prejudice still prompted Xiao Xiao to go check. She kept thinking Shahjan was slacking off somewhere. However, after pushing the door open, she found him meditating amidst a chaotic pile of junk. The sight made Xiao Xiao break out in a cold sweat. It was precisely because she couldn't stand the mess at home that she had run away. Lost in thought, Shahjan in the room spoke. This isn't very appropriate, is it? Although I know I'm wise and valiant, handsome and extraordinary, it's still not enough of a reason for you to peep at me. Hearing his words, Xiao Xiao's label of him as a super narcissist became even more firmly cemented. She replied, I'm just curious. What are you doing all alone, sneaking around in this room? Shahjan listened to her words, but didn't stop what he was doing. There's no helping it. Since I'm the only guy here, I can't let the pretty girls do this dirty work, can I? This made Xiao Xiao wonder. You really don't have to go this far, do you? This stuff won't sell for much anyway. Xiao Xiao looked at Shahjan, who told her it wasn't about the money. It's about resources. Resources are dwindling. The earth is warming. People are still endlessly wasteful. What about the polar bears? What about the penguins? Species are disappearing every day. If we don't take action to protect them, it'll be too late. As he spoke, he became increasingly agitated, his hands moving even faster. Xiao Xiao saw that this person was completely absorbed. Nevertheless, she still stepped forward to help. At that moment, she understood. So that's what the knight was all about. Perhaps everyone in this world is a knight, guarding the things they hold dear. And Xiao Xiao's reason for volunteering was that she considered these warm-hearted people her family. What she wanted to do was protect her family. Inspired by the charity event, Xiao Xiao eventually returned home to continue attending to her pets and her mother. After a while, she fell into another kind of slump. Has everyone experienced this? Every so often, there are a few days of intense self-loathing. That day, Lily found her at school. Why so down in the dumps? Did you fail another test recently? Xiao Xiao thought of her 59% test paper and became even more depressed. But her best friend didn't notice. She kept guessing. Or was it the physical fitness test you didn't pass? Xiao Xiao instantly recalled the scene of herself falling 100 meters behind during the fitness test. Her face darkened. Lily quickly noticed and, feeling like she'd put her foot in her mouth, hurriedly tried to recover. It's okay. I mean, life is full of ups and downs. The future is bright. If it's the last straw that breaks the camel's back, then it was her best friend's inability to find the right words that crushed Xiao Xiao. Because that was what Xiao Xiao cared about most. She felt lost about the future. Back in the classroom, the classmates were all chattering about what majors to apply for in college. Their plans for themselves were so clear. They could eloquently explain what they wanted to study and what they needed to do beforehand. Everyone saw Xiao Xiao listening intently and turned to ask her thoughts. However, at that moment, she stammered and couldn't speak, suddenly realizing a serious problem. She had no dreams. In the days that followed, she became even more despondent. When she ran into Feng Yimo that morning, she looked at her idol and thought, someone like Feng Yimo, the school heartthrob and academic genius, must have grand dreams beyond my wildest imagination. Faced with his greeting, Xiao Xiao instinctively felt that she wasn't worthy of being friends with someone like him. During lunch break that day, Xiao Xiao tried to adjust her mood. She knew she couldn't stay depressed like this, but she couldn't muster any energy no matter what. Not only did she have no dreams, but she also had absolutely no idea what the meaning of her life was. All she could see were shadows. Speaking of shadows, wasn't there a saying? If there's a shadow in front of you, just turn around and you'll see the light behind you. Xiao Xiao instinctively turned around and happened to see Feng Yimo walking over. He was bathed in light, looking so dazzling. Xiao Xiao was puzzled. She had just thought of that wise saying, so why was Feng Yimo here? He quickly remembered his promise to bring her lunch. He had made it, but he'd left it at home. Xiao Xiao burst into tears of self-recrimination. I'm sorry. I'm so useless. I really can't do anything right. I don't deserve to be your friend. I should just bite my tongue and die. Feng Yimo didn't seem bothered by her outburst. He sat down and comforted her. Everyone makes mistakes. I remember one time I even forgot my backpack when I went to school. It wasn't a big deal. After a couple of sentences, Xiao Xiao stopped crying. Then she asked the question that had been bothering her for days. Feng Yimo, can you tell me what your dream is? As she asked, she pondered the question herself. What kind of person will you become in the future? Feng Yimo, she wondered. Since you have such good grades, maybe you'll become a lawyer. Or maybe a doctor, since you're so kind. Just based on your looks, maybe an idol is your best bet. No matter which one, it's a life to look forward to, isn't it? Faced with a question, Feng Yimo scratched his head awkwardly. Actually, right now, I don't really have a dream. Hearing his response, Xiao Xiao instinctively wanted to offer a flattering remark, but her mind raced back, trying to recall his words. What did you say? Did I just mishear something? Wait a minute. How can you not have a dream? Feng Yimo explained, if I had to say what my dream is, it would be to just go with the flow, get into college, become an ordinary office worker, get married, and have kids. Xiao Xiao looked at the hopeful gleam in his eyes and thought, how ordinary. Can that even be called a dream? Seeing her lost in thought, Feng Yimo asked, what's wrong? Xiao Xiao voiced her thoughts. I'm just a little surprised. I just thought your dream would be something grander. He replied, as long as it's something you truly desire, even if it's ordinary, there's nothing wrong with it. After all, no one's dream is worthless. Then, Feng Yimo suddenly changed the subject. What about your dream, Xiao Xiao? Xiao Xiao seemed to lack confidence. I'm completely hopeless. I'm not very smart, and I'm not very athletic either. I'm not particularly good at anything. Thinking about the future just leaves me feeling lost. Maybe no matter how many years pass, I still won't be able to do anything right. Seeing her so dejected, Feng Yimo said, you're good at cooking and taking care of people. It's not like you're not good at anything. So, in the future, you could at least be a stay-at-home wife. Xiao Xiao latched onto his words. Suddenly, she imagined a scene of them married, herself cooking at home, their child playing nearby, Feng Yimo coming home from work. A happy family of 3. Thinking about this, Xiao Xiao's face flushed crimson. However, it also gave her a dream. But as they were discussing the future, their conversation was overheard by a blonde girl. She couldn't help but sigh. An ordinary office worker? Xiaomo, it's only been a year. What happened to your old dreams? Thanks to their conversation, Xiao Xiao's mood returned to normal. That night, she even had a dream. In her dream, she woke up in a new house. Little Wong, her dog, had turned into a child, tugging at her clothes and calling her mama. While she was still bewildered, Feng Yimo suddenly opened the door and called her wife. Just as she was completely baffled by all of this, she suddenly rolled out of bed and realized it was a dream. However, Little Wong, hearing the commotion, came over to her. Xiao Xiao was terrified he would call her wife. Because of this dream, Xiao Xiao started avoiding Feng Yimo for a while. But inevitably, she still saw him at school, chatting happily with other classmates. Xiao Xiao was actually happy for him. He gets along well with everyone in class, doesn't he? She thought. But as she was thinking this, Feng Yimo suddenly turned and smiled at her. Xiao Xiao was immediately flustered by his sunny, handsome face. At that moment, her heart began to race. He smiled at me without any warning. Is it because we're friends? I knew it before, but today he's especially dazzling. I'm so terrible. I actually had such impure thoughts about Feng Yimo. Just then, the students around her started to get noisy. The girl with glasses suddenly came up to her. Xiao Xiao, have you heard? A witch transferred into the class next door. Xiao Xiao was surprised. Are there really witches in this world? The girl with glasses told her seriously. There really are. As soon as she arrived, she captivated everyone with her witchcraft, gathering everyone around her. Listening to these familiar words, Xiao Xiao felt a strange sense of déjà vu. Just as Xiao Xiao was lost in thought, a classmate suddenly called out, "Feng Yimo, someone's looking for you." Following the voice, the bespectacled girl exclaimed that the newcomer was a witch. Xiao Xiao looked up and saw a petite girl with an otherworldly beauty. In that moment, Xiao Xiao gasped again, realizing it wasn't witchcraft, but simply the girl's stunning face. But is she here for Feng Yimo? She wondered. Puzzled, she asked Feng Yimo, "Do you know her?" He replied simply, "No." Xiao Xiao then thought, "How silly of me. Feng Yimo has face blindness. How could he?" Seeing Feng Yimo's lack of response, the young girl called out from the doorway, "Xiao Imo." Hearing this familiar nickname, Feng Yimo's heart skipped a beat. He turned and walked towards the door. Xiao Xiao and the bespectacled girl, Pan Pan, were left utterly bewildered. This was clearly unexpected, but as the two stood together, Xiao Xiao felt a strange, almost blinding radiance emanating from them. Xiao Xiao's initial annoyance quickly gave way to reason. How could I think that way? Feng Yimo needs friends too. The girl, upon seeing him, exclaimed excitedly, "Xiao Imo, long time no see. Don't you recognize me again?" But before she could say her name, Feng Yimo interrupted, serenity and light. "You're Luningshi." Luningshi pouted. "What? It took you that long to remember. Is it because I've gotten prettier? Impossible, I've always been this pretty. So, how did you recognize me?" Feng Yimo could recall her name because he distinctly remembered her explaining its meaning to him once. Seeing his hesitation, Luningshi reached out and touched his forehead. "Xiao Imo, what are you thinking about?" Feng Yimo brushed her hand away. "Nothing. I'm going back in." Luningshi, perplexed, asked, "Xiao Imo, you're so gentle with everyone else. Why are you different with me? Is it because I'm special?" Feng Yimo didn't reply, turning back towards the classroom. Luningshi wasn't disheartened, but rather resigned. "Oh well, Xiao Imo, you were never a gentle person anyway." As soon as Feng Yimo was gone, Xiao Xiao eagerly questioned him. "Was that your old friend?" "Not really. Someone I knew before. I don't really understand what friends are yet." Xiao Xiao panicked. "Then, can I be your friend?" Feng Yimo seemed startled by her reaction. "Of course you are. Didn't you hold my hand and tell me you wanted to be my friend?" Xiao Xiao blushed, remembering she had indeed done that. It felt embarrassing now, but hearing Feng Yimo confirm their friendship filled her with joy. At lunchtime, Xiao Xiao, remembering her lunchbox this time, took it out. Hearing footsteps approaching, she was about to call out to Feng Yimo excitedly when she saw it was Luningshi. Luningshi sneered at her. "Friends with Xiao Imo, huh? You're persistent, trying to get close to him under the guise of friendship. Don't bother. It's useless." Faced with her arrogance, Xiao Xiao simply asked, "Is that from personal experience?" This clearly struck a nerve. "Just give up. No matter how hard you try, Xiao Mo won't recognize you. I'm telling you this for your own good. Sometimes you have to know when to quit." Xiao Xiao felt secondhand embarrassment for her. Is that also from experience? So what if he doesn't recognize my face? At least I recognize him. If he doesn't recognize me once, I'll tell him once. If he doesn't recognize me for a lifetime, I'll tell him for a lifetime. He just doesn't recognize me. It doesn't mean he can't remember me or the things we've done together. So, someone I knew before but not a friend, I win. Luningshi stamped her foot in frustration. She had come to cause trouble, but had been outmaneuvered. Feng Yimo, hidden nearby, overheard their conversation and smiled with satisfaction. After the protagonist and Xiao Xiao solidified their friendship, a pleasant weekend arrived. Xiao Xiao and Lily were going to see a movie. Lily had been frowning the entire walk. Finally, she burst out, "Xiao Xiao, don't you know you can't bring pets into the cinema?" Xiao Xiao turned around. "Little Wong, why are you following me? Go home. Don't run around and don't follow strangers. Do you hear me?" As Xiao Xiao tried to shoo Little Wong away, Lily urged, "The movie's about to start." In the end, Xiao Xiao didn't press the matter further. So the two of them hurried into the cinema. After the movie, it started pouring outside. Xiao Xiao, who had almost dozed off during the film, was now wide awake. She hadn't brought an umbrella. Just then, murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Wow, it's raining so hard," someone said. "I saw a little dog standing outside earlier. Did you see that puppy? Just standing in the rain, so pitiful. Is he waiting for someone?" A sense of unease pricked at Xiao Xiao. She pushed her way to the front of the crowd. Sure enough, it was little Wang. He stood motionless in the downpour. Ignoring the heavy rain, Xiao Xiao ran towards him, calling his name. Are you stupid? Don't you know to find some shelter? Little Wang looked at her and simply said, I can't. If I wander off, Xiao Xiao will cry. Xiao Xiao froze. She remembered the time she had lost her temper. The last time little Wang had gathered flowers for her, Xiao Xiao had not only flown into a rage, but had also swatted the flowers from his hands. Standing in the rain, tears streamed down Xiao Xiao's face. Are you an idiot? I didn't mean for you to stand there like a statue. I meant be there when I need you. Don't ever let me not be able to find you. That's what I meant. Seeing her blush, little Wang exclaimed, cute, and pulled her into a hug. Mortified, Xiao Xiao quickly pushed him away. Now I'm soaked too. You're the culprit. You're getting a timeout when we get home. Little Wang tried to placate her, telling her not to be angry. Turning around, Xiao Xiao caught sight of his collarbone, already shy in his presence. She quickly closed his jacket, afraid of losing her composure. Seeing this, little Wang zipped his jacket all the way up, looking a bit foolish. Xiao Xiao found it endearing. And so, the girl and her devoted companion, their hearts full, returned home. The sky had cleared. Clean and dry, little Wang sat at the table, staring intently at an apple. Puzzled, Xiao Xiao asked, what are you staring at? Little Wang simply replied, the apple is red, like Xiao Xiao's face. Goo! Xiao Xiao was utterly embarrassed. Flustered, she retorted, if you say that again, I'm making hot pot. As she delivered her threat, she noticed something was off. Your face is red. Are you running a fever? The next moment, little Wang leaned against Xiao Xiao's shoulder, his voice drowsy. Xiao Xiao, I can't breathe. As Xiao Xiao pushed him away, a trickle of snot ran from his nose. Grabbing a thermometer, she took his temperature. It was almost 40 degrees Celsius. He definitely had a fever. Xiao Xiao wondered, I thought idiots didn't get sick? I better look up what to do online. As she turned to leave, little Wang grabbed her hand. Xiao Xiao, don't go, he pleaded. Xiao Xiao turned back, concerned. Oh dear, why are you up? Get back in bed. Little Wang looked at her with pleading eyes. Don't leave me alone. Xiao Xiao remembered him waiting for her in the pouring rain. Partly out of guilt, partly out of a surge of affection, she pulled him into a hug. I'll stay with you. I won't leave you alone again. But as soon as she uttered these comforting words, little Wang slumped against her. Xiao Xiao called his name repeatedly, but he didn't respond. Panicked, she cried out, Little Wang, don't die. But just as she began to wail, little Wang started snoring. Xiao Xiao was bewildered. What the? Ever since that day, Xiao Xiao felt that little Wang was somehow different. Could a dog really grow into her ideal man? No one could say for sure. But Xiao Xiao's strange journey was far from over. One day, emboldened by some unknown source of courage, the 5-foot-tall Xiao Xiao decided to play basketball with Pan Pan and the others. While they were seriously playing basketball, she was seriously being played by the basketball. Even her teammates couldn't bear to watch. Xiao Xiao, why don't you take a break in the stands? Otherwise, I'm afraid we'll have to call an ambulance again. Xiao Xiao finally accepted her title as a hopeless athlete. As she rested on the sidelines, she spotted Feng Yimo. Surprise flickered in her eyes. Feng Yimo, why are you a hopeless athlete number 2? I thought you were good at all sports. You always seem so resilient. Confused, Xiao Xiao finally voiced her question. You're not good at basketball? Feng Yimo rubbed his head awkwardly. It's not that I'm not good at it. It's more that I can't see the ball. Xiao Xiao's jaw nearly hit the floor. Can't you even see the basketball? Feng Yimo, you're not nearsighted. You're practically blind. No wonder you can't even see a telephone pole. Lost in thought, Xiao Xiao tentatively edged closer. Can you see me? When he didn't respond, Xiao Xiao moved even closer. Can you see me now? Do you know who I am? To her surprise, Feng Yimo seemed to blush, averting his gaze. Of course I can see you. It's Xiaoji. I told you that already. Xiao Xiao, oblivious to his flustered state, continued her investigation. Feng Yimo, you can recognize me now. Is it my scent or something else? She started sniffing herself, trying to figure it out. Feng Yimo, watching her bizarre actions, couldn't help but chuckle. He reached out and ruffled her hair. You're so cute, Xiaoji. Just like a chihuahua. Xiao Xiao finally realized what had happened. She stared at him in disbelief, as if making sure she hadn't imagined it. Just then, a basketball came hurtling towards her. If it hit, it would be her 5th time getting beamed. At the last possible second, a large hand intercepted the ball. It was Feng Yimo, of course. He looked at her with concern, asking if she was hurt. Instead of answering, Xiao Xiao stared at him, dumbfounded. But you saw the basketball. Feng Yimo smiled. I'm wearing contacts today. This piqued Xiao Xiao's curiosity even more. Then why were you sitting here? It turned out Feng Yimo had been on the court earlier, while Xiao Xiao was still playing. He had overheard the other students telling her to quit. He had also seen her dejectedly walk off the court. That's when he had come down and sat beside her. As Xiao Xiao thought about it, she seemed to understand. She pushed Feng Yimo, urging him to go back to the game. You didn't even think about wearing contacts when you ran into a telephone pole or fell down the stairs, but you put them in for gym class. You just wanted to play basketball with everyone else, didn't you? Understanding dawned on Feng Yimo, and he felt relieved. He saw that Xiao Xiao, who had been kicked off the team, was now in a much better mood. Reassured, he went back onto the court. Perhaps inspired by Xiao Xiao watching, Feng Yimo played like a man possessed. With a series of dazzling moves, he finished with a spectacular three-pointer, earning the admiration of the other boys. As everyone knows, when one guy thinks another guy is cool, he's seriously cool. Soon, the other players crowded around him. Xiao Xiao watched from the sidelines, impressed. Then, Feng Yimo walked back over to her. Xiao Xiao looked at him, puzzled. Why are you back? Feng Yimo looked embarrassed, scratching his head. I shot into the wrong basket and got benched. Xiao Xiao was speechless. Just when she thought it was just an ordinary gym class, during break time, she overheard some boys talking. They were saying something about shooting into the wrong basket. How can you shoot into the wrong basket in a 3-on-3 game? Even a fool can see he obviously just wanted to be near Miao Xiao Xiao. Hearing this gossip, Xiao Xiao's heart started racing. It was exciting to be considered a couple with her crush. But then, guilt washed over her. Feng Yimo had done that for her. Filled with this guilt, she went home after school and started practicing basketball intensely, continuing late into the night. She was determined. Just sitting in the stands would only worry Feng Yimo. I didn't become friends with him just to follow in his footsteps. I can't give up. I have to work harder for Feng Yimo. As she practiced, a voice suddenly spoke from behind her. For you, huh? Xiao Xiao spun around, expecting to see Little Wong, the dog who always accompanied her practice, but instead, she saw Feng Yimo's face. She saw two Feng Yimos in the same frame. Clearly, this one was the real deal. But why was he suddenly here? Feng Yimo stepped closer. It is Xiaoji. What were you saying about doing it for me? Xiao Xiao quickly backpedaled. You misheard Feng Yimo. Luckily, he didn't press the issue. He picked up the basketball she had been using. With a swift motion, he shot a perfect swish. Then, he told her, Xiaoji, you don't have to force yourself to do things you're not good at for other people. Xiao Xiao hurriedly explained that it wasn't like that. It's true I'm not very good, she stammered, but I don't feel forced at all. I hope you're happy every day. I hope Feng Yimo can make more friends. Because Feng Yimo is a very important person to me. The confessional tone of her words quickly brought Xiao Xiao back to reality. What am I saying? She thought. However, in response to her declaration, Feng Yimo simply reached out and patted her head. Just as Xiao Xiao was blushing, Little Wong suddenly leaped into her arms. Mine, he barked possessively. However, in Feng Yimo's world, distorted by his face blindness, it appeared as though Little Wong had jumped on his Xiao Xiao's shoulder, yipping excitedly, as if unable to contain himself. As the story progresses, it seems both of these identical male gods are about to be successfully won over by Xiao Xiao. The next day at school, Xiao Xiao wore this exact expression. Pan Pan, noticing her friend's distraction, turned to her. What's wrong with you lately? You seem so absent-minded. The reason was that Feng Yimo had told her he wouldn't need her homemade lunches anymore. From now on, he would be eating lunch with Song Song and Yuan Yuan. The moment Xiao Xiao heard the news, it felt as though the melancholic strains of Yi Jianmei were drifting through the air. At lunchtime, she stood with her lunchbox in their usual spot, waiting. But then she reconsidered. Feng Yimo making more friends is a good thing, right? So why did she feel this overwhelming sense of desolation? At that very moment, it began to snow. Xiao Xiao was thrilled. It was the first snow of the year. They said wishes made while it snowed came true. Xiao Xiao's wish was to have someone to eat lunch with every day. She had barely finished making her wish when someone approached. Xiao Xiao, her heart leaping, thought it came true so fast. She turned around. Oh, it's just Lu Ningxi. Xiao Xiao's jaw nearly hit the floor. The heavens' comprehension skills were apparently on par with a hairdresser's. Clearly, wishes needed to be more specific. Lu Ningxi, seeing Xiao Xiao's crestfallen expression, taunted, Why are you trying to slink away? Do you know why Xiaoma doesn't consider you a friend? It was me. I rejected you. Being friends is too ordinary. Xiaoma can have lots of friends. I didn't want to be Xiaoma's friend. And you're just the most ordinary of them all. Do you understand? If I wanted to, I could be best friends with him again, just like that. Faced with Lu Ningxi's smugness, Xiao Xiao didn't argue this time. The words had struck a nerve. She ran to the classroom and found Feng Yimo. Feng Yimo, she blurted, "We're good friends, right?" Feng Yimo smiled. "Of course, Xiaoji, you're my good friend." Xiao Xiao pressed further. "But is there anything slightly different?" Feng Yimo considered this, looking at her. His mind, however, went elsewhere. He thought of little Wang. "Xiaoji is smaller than other dogs," he mused. "So of course it's different, because you're smaller." Xiao Xiao, completely misunderstanding his meaning, remained in a state of bliss until school ended. Her best friend, walking home with her, noticed her dreamy expression. "What's with the lovesick look, Xiao Xiao? What happened? You're hiding something good? Tell me. Let me be happy too." Xiao Xiao, remembering Feng Yimo's words, "Xiaoji is my good friend. Of course it's different," blushed and confessed. Yimo said, "I'm special." Mid-sentence, she noticed a group of boys bullying a girl. As Xiao Xiao got closer, she realized it was Lu Ningxi. Even she has a bad day sometimes, she thought, a surprising surge of schadenfreude rising within her. Wow, where did that come from? She started to intervene, but her friend held her back. "Xiao Xiao, so many people walk by without doing anything. You're not seriously going to get yourself involved, are you? Let's just call the police." As they argued, Feng Yimo suddenly appeared and stood in front of Lu Ningxi. Lu Ningxi, seeing him, cried out, "Xiaoma, you're the best. These people are bullying me. Help me teach them a lesson." Hearing this, Feng Yimo glanced back at her. "Are you causing trouble again?" Lu Ningxi protested. "I didn't do anything. They're just too weak." The thugs, seeing them talking amongst themselves, grew irritated. "Are you ignoring us? Don't look down on us. You've been warned." One of them threw a punch. Feng Yimo, sensing the movement, caught the punch effortlessly. The thug was shocked. "I can't move. He's so strong. He looks like a pretty boy, but who is he?" Seeing his underlings struggling, the leader of the thugs stepped forward. He was about to deliver a menacing line when he saw Feng Yimo's face. His bravado instantly evaporated. Are you from the Feng family?" he stammered. Lu Ningxi suddenly threw herself into Feng Yimo's arms. Yes, he was the true heir of the Feng family. Just then, the school security guards, seeing the large crowd gathering, quickly approached. The bullies, sensing trouble, scattered and ran. With the crisis averted, Lu Ningxi didn't release her grip on Feng Yimo. In fact, she clung even tighter, aware of Xiao Xiao's presence. Feng Yimo, noticing Xiao Xiao, turned and greeted her. As the story unfolds, Feng Yimo's background gradually becomes clearer. That day, just like last time, Xiao Xiao arrived at Lu Haoqi's performance venue to deliver lunch. This was Lily's childhood friend, Lu Haoqi, a member of the popular idol group. In short, a good-looking but spoiled brat. The reason Xiao Xiao was here again was because Lily had called her early that Saturday morning, saying the brats were craving her cooking. Xiao Xiao sighed inwardly. Dealing with the young master at home is enough. Why do I have to cater to a bunch of extra ones? She grumbled to herself. As she complained, the little boys finished their meals. They handed the empty lunchboxes to Xiao Xiao, saying, "Thank you, Auntie. It would be great if we could eat your cooking every week." As they spoke, one of them suddenly noticed Xiao Xiao's phone wallpaper. "Isn't that my cousin?" Lu Haoqi, hearing this, leaned in for a closer look. "It really is my idol." "Auntie, how did you get a picture of my idol? Where did you download it? Do you have any others?" Xiao Xiao, flustered, tried to snatch her phone back. "That's my classmate, Feng Yimo." Lu Haoqi was astonished. "Auntie, your classmates with my idol? Why didn't Lily tell me?" Another boy chimed in. "You're Xiaoji, the one my cousin talks about, right?" Xiao Xiao was equally surprised. "Are you really Feng Yimo's cousin?" "So, Feng Yimo does have a family." The boy chuckled. "What do you mean does have a family?" "Great-grandpa Feng is still alive. He's my great-great-grandfather, my cousin's great-grandfather. He's fitter than I am, not to mention my grandparents, 2 uncles, and aunts." Considering their large family, Xiao Xiao asked curiously, "Do they live out of town?" "No, they're right here. Haven't you heard of the Feng family?" As they spoke, another little boy joined the group. He pointed at the phone wallpaper. "Isn't that the runaway cousin from the Yao family?" Xiao Xiao sat up in shock. "What? Feng Yimo ran away from home." The Feng family boy couldn't stand it. "What do you mean, ran away?" "It's called silent rebellion against evil forces." Then he suddenly thought of something. "By the way, who are you to have my cousin's picture as your wallpaper?" Everyone's gaze immediately fixed on Xiao Xiao. Panicked, she blurted out, "No, it's just, I thought it was a nice picture. I mean, little Wang took a good picture." The boys all chorused, "Aw, Xiao Xiao blushed, then thought, what business is it of yours, brats, who I use as my wallpaper? Feng Yimo's cousin said, Auntie, if you promise to make us lunch every week, I'll tell you more about my cousin. Xiao Xiao refused. If I want to know something about Feng Yimo, I'll ask him myself. Why ask you? The cousin upped the ante. I'll also give you pictures of my cousin from when he was little. Xiao Xiao, though initially resistant, couldn't resist the temptation of childhood photos of Feng Yimo and finally agreed. Lu Haoqi chimed in. Hey, can I get some too? The cousin pushed him away. Your weird obsession needs to stay away from my cousin. Amidst the commotion, a handsome man with red hair walked over. Time to work, boys. Get ready. Xiao Xiao recognized him immediately. It was Zhang Wen, the group leader. Finally, someone responsible, she thought. Then Zhang Wen turned to Xiao Xiao. Next time, I want braised ribs. Thanks, Auntie. Xiao Xiao's newly formed good impression of him vanished. Seriously? You too, calling me Auntie? She thought, exasperated. As she fumed, the cousin turned to her. Auntie, do you want to watch? Xiao Xiao's eyes lit up. Of course, she wanted to see her idol group perform. He followed along to the stage area. Numerous staff members bustled about, setting up the scene. The sheer size of the space left Xiao Xiao awestruck. Then, turning around, she bumped into one of the crew. After both of them mumbled that they were fine, the staff member suddenly asked, You're not part of the crew, are you? Just as Xiao Xiao was fumbling for a response, Zhang Wen appeared behind her. I brought her, he explained. The staff member didn't press the matter further. Xiao Xiao profusely thanked Zhang Wen. He glanced at the seating behind them. You should find a seat and relax for a bit, he suggested. Taking his advice, Xiao Xiao found an empty spot and watched the rehearsal. To her surprise, they were practicing a wire walking act. Suddenly, during the rehearsal, a mishap occurred. The wire beneath her cousin's feet loosened. He lost his footing and plummeted from midair. But with impressive agility, he executed a roll to break his fall, landing in a dramatic pose. Xiao Xiao jolted upright, her heart leaping into her throat. She rushed over. Are you okay? She asked anxiously. Her cousin, seemingly unfazed, replied calmly, I'm fine. I'm practically a Feng family member, after all. From that moment on, Xiao Xiao's curiosity about the Feng family intensified. That afternoon, using her phone's navigation, she found herself standing before the grand Feng family estate. Gazing at the opulent courtyard, she recalled her cousin's words. The Feng family is the most esteemed martial arts family in the city. A wave of confusion washed over Xiao Xiao. A martial arts family, so that's why Feng Yimo is so resilient. Not because of his eyesight, but if they're so wealthy, why does he live so frugally? Is Feng Yimo secretly some kind of mafia prince? She wondered, astonished. Just then, a voice startled her from behind. Xiaoji, is that really you? What are you doing here? It was Feng Yimo. Xiao Xiao floundered for an explanation. If I said I was just passing by, would you believe me? She blurted out. To her surprise, Feng Yimo simply smiled and nodded. Quickly regaining her composure, Xiao Xiao countered. What about you? Why are you here? I thought you ran away from home. Have you finished your rebellious phase and come crawling back? Feng Yimo turned towards the courtyard. I'm here to visit someone very important. As Xiao Xiao puzzled over his words, Lu Ningxi appeared, running towards them. Xiao Xiao's stomach dropped. Could she be the important person? She thought nervously. Lu Ningxi noticed her too. Well, if it isn't our just friend's classmate. What are you doing here with Xiao Mo? Lu Ningxi's words sent a wave of panic through Xiao Xiao. She seemed to have completely misunderstood the situation. To Xiao Xiao's dismay, Feng Yimo simply said, Xiaoji was just passing by. Xiao Xiao wanted the earth to swallow her whole. Feng Yimo, could you be any more blunt? Do I not have any dignity? She thought miserably. Lu Ningxi, emboldened by Feng Yimo's words, became even more smug. I see, just as I thought. Well, we shouldn't keep our just friend's classmate any longer. She was just passing by, after all. She tugged at Feng Yimo's arm. Come on, Xiao Mo, aren't you here to see us? As he was being pulled away, Feng Yimo turned back to bid Xiao Xiao farewell. Lu Ningxi, relishing her apparent victory, even stuck her tongue out at Xiao Xiao, taunting her. Watching them disappear inside, Xiao Xiao felt a pang of resentment. Feng Yimo, couldn't you have at least invited me in? Even just for a moment, she thought, feeling utterly dejected. She remembered Feng Yimo's words about the important person, and a sharp pain stabbed at her stomach. The depth of her disappointment was overwhelming. Inside, Feng Yimo barely stayed for half a minute before announcing his departure. Lu Ningxi was taken aback. Why are you leaving so soon? She asked, surprised. Feng Yimo glanced out the window and saw Xiao Xiao still lingering by the gate. A flicker of concern crossed his face, and he excused himself. Lu Ningxi was completely baffled. Unable to stop him, she called out, "Xiao and Mo, you'll come back next month, right?" He didn't reply. Lu Ningxi turned her gaze inwards, where a woman lay in a bed. Outside, Feng Yimo found Xiao Xiao still pacing by the gate. "Why are you still here?" he asked. Xiao Xiao, caught off guard, stammered, I was just admiring the scenery. I got lost in thought. Do you believe me?" To her surprise, Feng Yimo didn't question her explanation. "How refined," he remarked. Then, he turned to leave. "Well, I won't disturb you any longer, Xiaoji. I'll be going now." Xiao Xiao was puzzled. "Going? Where are you going?" she asked. "Home, of course," he replied. Xiao Xiao was completely bewildered. "Home? But isn't this your home, Feng Yimo? Is he going back to that dilapidated apartment?" she wondered, a wave of concern washing over her. "Can I go with you?" she blurted out, calling after him. Feng Yimo stopped. Turning back with a smile, he said, "Of course."